Well, g'day YouTubers, and thanks for tuning in. Today I want to talk a bit about the criticism that we get sometimes from the concept of urine therapy. Now, most of the things about urine therapy, people will keep it quiet and you don't have to tell people about it and do nothing and just continue on your merry way. But that can be a little bit hard for some because they see these miraculous changes and they want to share that with other people. And hopefully that they'd have insight to even consider the concept of doing this for their own health benefits. Now, most out there are probably going to be very close-minded to the concept of urine therapy or the thought of drinking their own urine. Now, I've been making the film for 4 years now, which has been forever and a day. And I do tell a lot of people about the film and the process of the film. Most of what I get back is pretty positive, and a lot of people have recall of the memory of using urine for something like tinea or heard about, jellyfish bites and so forth. But when it comes to the concept of actually drinking, they're kind of like, not sure about that. And then on the other extreme, you get those that are so repulsed by it that they think they can start typing verbal rubbish at you. Like, what next? Eat shit and that'll do this and that'll do that. So there are professional bloggers out there on YouTube who want to waste your time, telling you or trying to educate you that urine is a poisonous substance and it's toxic and dangerous. Now, it's not my job to prove you wrong. It's your job to prove me wrong. I mean, you're basing it on what exactly? Where is your proof? For I have studied this for quite a large amount of years, and I know that urine is sterile. So therefore it is clean. Now, if urine was so toxic and so poisonous, then the people who have been drinking it for over 20, 30 and even 40 years would be dead. But guess what? They're still alive. So explain that to me. Now, for scientific evidence that you guys say that there's none, obviously you've never looked on the internet before and dug deep into it, but there are a lot of journals out there that explain the process of urine therapy. So there is scientific evidence. There's been case studies. One of the case studies that recently came to me was from a urine therapy clinic in India, where they did clinical trials on cases of asthma. The trial took a period of 6 weeks, which seems to be short, but for scientific evidence, nothing's really short in the scale because a lot of that can always be manipulated. However, these tests were not double-blinded tests because urine therapy is something you can't do as a double-blinded test. Your patients have to know they're drinking their own urine. However, in the case studies, over 95% of the patients cured their asthma. So this was a study from an age group between, I think they were 19 to about 55 age group, according to the specs that was sent to me, and those who did the test and trial that still had a little improvement are continuing anyway because they're enjoying the whole aspect of how they feel after doing this therapy. So this is one case study. There's plenty of case studies. There's a case study in Saudi Arabia where they did it for cancer of the liver, cirrhosis, and proved that 95% of their patients cured themselves. But it's not my job to prove you. You sit there and you criticize and you point fingers and maybe you got too much time on your hands and then you're saying all this stuff, but in actual fact you're all wrong because the word is out there. And there's plenty of proof out there. So don't criticize me. I don't have to answer you back. I don't have to justify what I do. It's a film. It's not a biased film. It's an open-minded film. And those who drink urine are of an open-minded kind. There's quite many of them. Most Chinese drink their urine. In Brazil, has one of the largest countries that do urine therapy. And Germany in the West are huge drinkers. So there's quite a lot out there. So people that sit there and criticize and point fingers, guess what? 3 are pointing back at you. And you're only making a fool of yourself. And by the way, I won't blog back and I won't write back because you're just not worth my time. I'll just delete you. So you can go on to the next person and talk about some other things. But fortunately, I don't get a lot of criticism, which is good, because most people are kindred spirits and open-minded to this therapy. Remember, this therapy's been around for centuries. The Romans used to use it. It's written in the Sanskrit in Egypt, where they'd used it. And of course, India, in the great Tamadantras. So it's been around for centuries, and it's still going to be around for centuries. During World War I and World War II, there was no medicines. There was a very limited supply of medicines. So what did they use? Their doctors recommended use urine. It heals the wounds, it heals the stomach, it fixed everything. Because there was nothing else, we didn't have a choice. So maybe we'll be confronted to that again. And there's a lot of people out there who have tried modern medicine and everything has failed. They've either poisoned their body with too much toxic overload and turned to urine as a last resort. And as they say, last resort, first choice. When you've exhausted everything else and everything else has failed, then why not? Why not give it a go? It could turn around the way you feel, it could change your life, and it can cure your diseases. This has all been proven with thousands and millions of testimonials from people from all around the world. And to me, testimonials and people curing themselves of cancer and huge illnesses speak volumes. So, don't criticize, open your mind and have a look further into it. You never know, you might come across a day that you need it. So that's all I want to say to those naysayers and, time wasters really. So move on and find something else. Okay, for everyone else, drink up. Cheers.